mid-majors, which is good. If Wofford doesn't win the SoCon, they're making it to the NCAA tournament. It's all but guaranteed.
You heard it here first. Wofford is in.
Yes.
It is the Sports Lounge. It's the first show in a month. Lounge 276.
Fuck.
I'm Travis Crins.
Rutgers just hit a 3. They're stupid.
Stacking. Watching one of the 150th most important games of the Big Ten season tonight.
Yes.
Start off with a hat stacking.
Oh, look at this.
With the Pittsburgh Pirate type hat.
Yeah, it looks like you're a train conductor or something.
Looks like I belong back in 1914. That's what that looks like. Baseball played yesterday. That was fun.
Yeah.
It's been so long since we've had a show. We haven't even talked about the Super Bowl on the show. And there wasn't much to talk about because it was the worst one I've ever seen.
I'm pretty sure Baltimore and the Giants is still the worst one I've ever seen.
Here's my theory is that neither team played well in this game. Or at least in these Super Bowls that have been blowouts, at least one of the teams have played exceptional. Like Seattle beat Denver. The Ravens beat the Giants. At least one team did something.
Mm-hmm.
In this Super Bowl, neither team did anything.
But don't you think the Patriots defense did something?
Yeah, they were good. They were good. And Rams defense held them enough to where Rams, you say, Rams, you did this. I'm like, yeah, well, we'll take that. But their offense couldn't do anything. So we transitioned to that, to sex slaves and Robert Kraft.
Yeah, well, I was just going to say the last time we did the show, Joe Flacco was still a Raven.
Yeah.
Trump technically still is, I guess, until the new year, or the new NFL year.
Yeah.
But yeah, sex trafficking. That's a great story there. It's so funny when a story about an NFL owner takes over all of the national news waves. It's just unbelievable because that's all this was. I watched NBC Nightly News, and the first 2 stories were on this. Ben Volen, I think he's a Boston Globe NFL beat writer, said something to the effect of Bob Kraft may never recover from this.
Oh, is that right? Is that right? 77-year-old Bob Kraft may never recover.
And then apparently he's also dating a 39-year-old actress or something like that. So also you have Patriots fans who are like, oh, let the process play out. Let the process play out. Whereas, like, I get that you're defending, that you want to defend your guy who's brought you 6 Super Bowls, but if you're caught on tape, what kind of defense could you possibly have unless someone else was disguised, unless Bob Kraft has a doppelganger in the Florida area? I don't know how he has much of a defense about this.
Yeah, he denies it. Trump says, well, he denies it, so of course that's worth nothing. And they've got surveillance video. I mean, everything it sounds like is this. That's something that I don't know how big of a deal it's going to be ultimately. Like if he's not the head of it, or if he's just doing it, I'm like, well, that's bad. I don't want to make him sell his team, or if you're going to arrest him, or how serious it's going to be if he just did it. Like, well,
it's something like 20 or like 200 and some people are in this, and he could face like 60 days in jail. Adam Schefter said that he wasn't even the biggest name on there.
Adam Schefter's, I hate him. I hate Adam Schefter. He's in that category of, for me, like I hate Tom Verducci. He doesn't bring anything to me. I like Peter King more than I like Adam Schefter.
Really?
That's how much I think of Adam Schefter. I saw one tweet that said, one guy said, I have no idea what he's talking about. Not a clue. So, I mean, we'll see if there's a name bigger or whatever that means than Robert Kraft. And if there isn't,
I got a theory. I'm not saying it's him, but if there is a name that's bigger on there, I was going through. There were two names that came right to mind. One, Mar-a-Lago is not far from Jupiter, Florida.
Good job.
And then the other one, Tiger Woods.
Ooh, good idea. Of course, when I thought it was Trump as well, and Tiger Woods, that's a good one.
So whether or not that is, the Florida authorities are like, oh, we don't know if there's a bigger name there. This isn't something that we've heard. We don't know where Schefter is getting this. So if it is, I mean, I don't know. It was just something that came to mind. So, wow, a terrible foul in this Rutgers Gophers game. The Gophers are going to lose this one, and it's going to piss me off.
Right on that NIT bubble.
So, anyway, yeah, this is a pretty big story, and I don't know how Jim Irsay, Colts owner, got suspended like 6 games. And yeah, Bill Irsay. He got fined $500,000 or something for a DU.
That'll show.
Was it WI or a DUI?
He was pilled up.
Yeah, prescription pills. He's got a whole case of this, and so I wonder what
suspension
what punishment
or something.
I wonder what the punishment will be for Kraft, because one way you got to do something to him. But between Deflategate and Spygate and now Sexgate, this is the Patriots once again trying to cheat the rules of life.
Ooh. Apparently this happened about a month ago, and they've got video of it so they can show it. He was driven to a spa by his chauffeur. About $60 for a half hour, $80 for an hour. Those are your going rates. It's only a misdemeanor. Like I said, not a huge deal. Probably more surprising than
the image is not.
Sure. He'll never see jail. So
no, I agree, but I'm just saying, like, his image overall, I think, will take a significant hit. But this isn't something that you would demand him like have to give up his ownership. Like, this is not a Donald Sterling Clipper moment. You know what I mean?
So it's a surprising thing, and just one part of a much larger deal. So we'll see how that changes, what that develops into. So the old spa treatment for Mr. Robert Kraft. That was a big story yesterday. What else, Zach? In the last month, I'm poorly behind on the college basketball. Very ill. I was very ill-informed. I did see the Duke Carolina thing. That was sounds like Williamson will be back fine. So that's good news.
Yes, good news for us, because we will be at the Final Four in a month and change.
I saw you had a tweet that said you like Texas Tech and North Carolina.
Yes,
Can you verify that was your account?
I can verify that was me, and that if UNC plays as well as they did against Duke, and they have a lot of pieces in place, like Kobe White, Nasir Little, Luke May is great. Apparently there's this Cam Johnson that they got from Pittsburgh. He's a grad transfer. He's very good. So I really think if North Carolina can play consistently, the problem is they sometimes play down to the level of competition. Miami took them to to overtime in Chapel Hill a couple weeks ago.
Texas squad beat them, for Christ's sake.
Yeah.
Texas.
I think if you look at it, though, if they play it if they play the way that we know they are capable of, I think they have a chance to make a Final Four run. Texas Tech as well plays legitimately great defense. They have a couple guys from last year's squad that made that run. Matt Mooney is on the team. I think Texas Tech, Fran Fraschilla says they play the best defense in the country.
Really? Texas Tech?
Yeah. Texas Tech, apparently. They shoot the ball really well. So I think that this is definitely a team that could make it. I'm not saying they're going to go and make it to the Final Four, but those are a couple.
They'll be like a 3 seed or something.
Well, North Carolina is going to be a 2 seed.
Texas
Tech has the potential to be a 2 seed. I mean, Kansas isn't good. They spanked Kansas last night. Like Kansas,
I think they're. I don't think they can win the conference anymore. I think Kansas State going to win.
They have a chance.
Like they got to win out, and Kansas State's got to lose because they only play Kansas State once and they lost, so that hurts.
Yep, they play Monday night, so Kansas would have to beat Kansas State, and I can't remember who
they play again.
Yeah, yep, they play again tomorrow night.
Well, they got
yeah, and then but they still need then Kansas State to lose their next game, and Kansas, of course, would have to win. So,
and Texas Tech is between them, and they already lost to them. So even if they do that, well.
When they split the season series, but Texas Tech, I think, is still up
ahead of
game. So, yeah, this is
probably ain't going to happen. This is the year when it ends.
Yep. So, I mean, that's Kansas State's playing really well. Kansas is in the doldrums for sure. Yeah, it's phenomenal what's going on here. And Minnesota just lost to Rutgers. I wanted them to make the NCAA tournament. I wanted to color in Minnesota on my bracket, and that's not happening.
We'll look forward to the annual trivia question. What states made the tournament this year?
Yep.
With the rankings, Tennessee, they lost a couple of times.
Gonzaga, and that game, I watched it. I'm sorry to interrupt, but that
LSU, they're a team we've never talked about, but they're probably going to be a top 10 team now. LSU.
They played yesterday's game without their best player, and he's supposed to be really good, but they have a couple.
No, LSU.
LSU played without their best player. They have the refs in that game were just awful. They had 4 video reviews that took 10 minutes. Really ridiculous. But LSU, I think, has a real good chance to make it. Of course, they lost at home to Florida in overtime. So they're a team that I think has a chance to make a run, but I'd be a little cautious of. Tennessee, I'm still not going to give up on them. I mean, when you're playing at Kentucky and at LSU, that's tough. They host Kentucky this upcoming week here. No Travis Reed or Reed Travis for Kentucky, so I think Tennessee will win the rematch there and win the SEC. But I think this is both teams. I think could certainly do something. And then Michigan State today beat Michigan. That was a very entertaining game. I am not sold on Michigan State, even though they played as well as they did. Michigan, I'm a little skeptical on, but I think I would take Michigan further than Michigan State.
Gonzaga is going to be your new number 1.
Yep.
Because the way it works is that if number 1 loses, despite the circumstances, they're going to drop. I mean, I would still vote Duke number 1. They received 80% of the first place votes, 90% of the first place votes last week. They were without their best player. Like if I was voting, would you vote Duke number 1?
No, I mean they still. It's not like
they lost a pretty good margin, but
they have 4 McDonald's All-Americans. It's not like Zion's the only team or like the only good player on Duke. RJ Barrett's fantastic. Cam Reddish is good. I think that they have more than enough of talent that they should be able to weather that sort of storm. But they had no presence inside, and UNC took advantage of it. 34 of their 42 first half points were in the paint, not just 2-point shots, like jumpers or anything, in the paint. They had hit 1 3 and 5 free throws. I mean, it's just incredible what they did there. So, I mean,
like my biggest thing with the poll is that nobody else believes this, but like you can have a team lose. Like I don't necessarily think you have to drop them. Like if the number one team loses, okay, they lose. You can still think they're number one. Just because number one lost to somebody, that doesn't mean that they're not still number one to me.
I agree with that, but I think again you have to look at the total performance, and Duke got thoroughly outplayed by UNC in that game. Mm-hmm. So I would have no problem dropping Duke to 2. I mean, I think Gonzaga deserves to be 1 just because they went out. Now, granted, they're playing BYUs and the San Franciscos and Portlands of the world, so it doesn't do like the level of competition certainly isn't what Duke's going up against. But I am okay with Duke falling to 2 as Marcus Traxler joins the program here. Hello, Marcus.
Hello, Mr. Stacken.
And I don't have video for him, so I think it's a me issue. I think there's an echo issue here.
Great. Cool.
You hear it?
Yep.
Nope. Yeah.
I don't have an echo on my end.
I think it's
better
okay.
now. Still kind of shitty.
Oh, there we go. I think so. So then, Stacken, if Duke and Gonzaga would play, maybe a month from now, you would pick.
I think I would go with Duke.
I would pick Duke. I have them at number 1 and say you're the best.
Zion is fully healthy, I think I would take Duke. But we already have seen that when Duke's fully healthy, Gonzaga is capable of beating them. And now that Gonzaga is healthy, or they might be missing one of their guys, but
they're getting healthy.
It's hard pressing for me to say that definitively Duke would beat Gonzaga. I would take Duke, but I would do it like a 51-49 split. I think that's how close these two teams are.
Marcus.
Prince, talk to me.
You saw the women's game today?
Yes.
You see it there?
Yeah, I did.
Your impressions. Your impressions of the game.
I would say going into the game, I was still a little bit skeptical of USD. But they played really well in the first half. I mean, put themselves in a position to lead by, I think, 13 at the most at one point. And then SDSU did what SDSU had to do. They made some threes. They got to the foul line, had a huge advantage there. And they won the game, which is what I expected them to do. And I think we always have this debate. It's the thing that everybody loves talking about. You know, is the Summit League going to get both teams in? I think today went a long way to making that happen. Because I think if USD would have beaten SDSU 3 times this year, I don't know how you can make the case that SDSU should be in. You know, so now that at worst one of them is going to be 1 and 2 against the other, I think that at least helps because nobody got swept. So, and I you know, if you look at the bracket right now, as far as, you know, if you're a Charlie Cream believer,
good bracket.
I don't know if you think they're going to be a top 8 seed in any region, but that's kind of how he's got them right now. So
and I saw some guy, I don't know who it is, he tweeting, they both got to be in. Today proved that.
Well, did you see the comment about the last 5 years have shown that?
No, who was that? Is that somebody?
There's somebody on Twitter, a USD fan on Twitter said, "Well,
I mean, that's not what it is.
Well, that's not how this works. You know,
as the fucking 5 years ago.
As the great commercial says, that's not how any of this works.
No,
how it works is how this year is. And I'm probably going to write a column about it this week because it's kind of driving me up a wall. And I'm gonna allude to the fact this is what everybody loves talking about, but nobody seems to really understand how this whole process works.
Good. That's what I was going to go to. Next.
USD, the reason they're in the conversation this year is because they actually have the wins to back it up. You beat Iowa State, who could could be a top 4 seed. You beat Missouri, who's probably going to be in the tournament. Those are 2 really good wins that they haven't had previously, and that goes a long way. I mean, SDSU, I don't know. I'm not a guy who wants to count the ones that they lost, but they did play Baylor and lose. They did play Oregon and lose by less than 10 in both instances. That's got to be worth something.
I mean, that's the difference between the 100 points or whatever in the strength of schedule. That's where that comes in.
Right, and I think even in previous years, the year SDSU was left out, right? They were one of the first 4 out. They didn't have the wins that year. I mean, that was the reason they didn't get in. So I think this year they'd both have the wins. They'd be able to make a case. SDSU now has beaten 2 top 25 teams this year. That's pretty good for a mid-major. So there you have it.
Marcus stacking here.
Yes.
30 free throw disparity, 32-14. Did you think that was an accurate? Did you think that the officiating was accurate in this game, or did the home crowd or the home court kind of give some SDSU an advantage?
It gave them an advantage. I think SDSU was the more aggressive team. They very wisely got Macy Miller to the line, Madison Giebert to the line. And USC tried that to an extent. They got, I believe, a pretty big call late in regulation to get Chloe Lamb to the line.
On Giebert that was horrendous.
The foul called on her?
The 3-pointer that might have been tipped. And
yes, at the end. Yes, at the very end.
And then she had her back to the basket, and the other girl was kind of, it was bad.
I wouldn't say it was a well officiated game at all. I mean, I think it played out fine because I think both teams, nobody had a huge advantage in how the game was played. USD, I mean, they're probably the bigger, stronger team, at least down low, and that's again something that I think SDSU people probably aren't used to a total degree, and so. I thought the disparity made sense, but yeah, there were individual foul calls that were bad. So
Sierra Duffy is very good. How good is Chloe Lamb? Because it certainly seemed like
this has been a long held belief of mine going back to Class B basketball. I'll say it for everybody to hear. Chloe Lamb is a killer. I mean, she gets the ball, she makes plays. She's an incredible player. She's probably Kira Duffy's great. Obviously, she makes some huge shots, but she's the player I would fear the most if I'm SDSU, just because today especially she wasn't afraid to have the ball in her hands at the end. She's only a sophomore, just a really skilled player, good with the ball, can make some shots. So 2 more years of that if you're the Jacks.
Do we see SDSU being ranked tomorrow?
I don't think so. I haven't really looked at the AP poll and the other teams that are ahead of them and what's got to happen. It'd be great if they were, and I would say, let's get to the end of next week, or let's get, if they were to win the tournament and have 3 more wins, and then they're in that one on Selection Sunday or Monday for them, they could be in the top 25 then. But I'd say at this point, no. But I don't know how many teams are ahead of them right now.
Well, they're going to definitely have the tougher game between them and USD this week. USD finishes with UND and NDSU, and SDSU finishes with Western Illinois. So, I mean, not that has a huge –
and just one thing I was going to say is since you brought it up, Western Illinois, right, they're 5th or 4th in the standings. If SDSU were to win their first game, they'd probably get Denver, who is 4, and the Pios, and that's the team that beat USD. I don't know if SDSU is necessarily scared of Denver. They shouldn't be, but that's a team that obviously scores a buttload of points. So that is a little bit fearful if you are looking at the semifinals, because USD would have Oral Roberts in the semis if the seeds would hold, and that's a difficult opponent. USD doesn't want to see Oral Roberts, correct? Yeah.
Yeah, they don't want to see them. They played them.
And Denver's only sending one team to the tournament this year, and that'd be
demoralizing.
Send them on a bus.
In fact, Joe Rosga hasn't been the same since he missed those free throws, folks. He just hasn't been.
Rosga.
Did you guys talk about the men? You guys talk about the men's game?
No, men's game. I didn't see that. Another basically same sort of game, big comeback at the end, and a lot of people there. And I mean, that's a game that that game can't be close. It just can't be close. It can't be.
Yeah, SDSU has just had. They are getting everybody's best shot. Otzelberger said that after the game, and I agree with it. But they just defensively they have not been good. They haven't been good enough lately. I'd have to look at what the shooting percentages have been, what teams are shooting against them, but it's not pretty. And,
it's well over 50%. I mean, that's it's something I had tweeted. I don't remember what it. Matt Zimmer had posted a tweet yesterday during the game, and I just tweeted back. I said, "This is not good. The SDSU's defense has been horrendous. They're going to be lucky to win the Summit League tournament."
Well, here's my theory on that. I would say that these games tend to play out at the Summit League tournament, right? So the fact that they're happening before then is maybe a good sign. I think all else equal, SDSU is by far the best team in the Summit League if they're playing their best game. So do that for 3 nights, and you're going to make it without a problem. Let's hope that they're capable of doing that. I think the one thing that's sort of redeeming about SDSU is that their offense is so damn good that they can dig themselves out of these holes, and so that is a good sign. You don't like to put yourself in that position, but that's something that they can do that simply nobody else in the league can. And I think at the end of the day, 3 games in 4 nights, they're going to be. I believe Zimmer pointed out here as well that they're going to be playing basically 7 guys, three times over 4 nights. That could be a problem, but I just think all the factors we've talked about for the last almost 10 years now are the factors that are going to be in play. Big home crowd, big advantage, all that stuff. They've been the 1 seed, 2 seed, doesn't seem to matter. Been the 4 seed, won the thing. So let's see what happens.
I think they want to. Obviously, you would love to be the top seed, but I think especially this year, I don't think Omaha's as good as their 12-2
I would agree.
record in the conferences, because they've been pushed to overtime by USD. And granted, SDSU just had a shot against USD, but that's a rivalry game. Fort Wayne's pushed them a couple of times. They had a 16-point deficit last week against SDSU that SDSU inexplicably gave up to them. I mean, that's still asinine in my mind. But I would think if you're SDSU, it's especially important to be the 1 seed this year, because you don't want to have to face Fort Wayne and Omaha to win the Summit League. Because those 2 teams, especially Fort Wayne can score with them. They did it in one of SDSU's defeats, and they did it again at Frost on Thursday night. So I would think you would much rather take on the Bison in a rivalry game versus a Fort Wayne in the semis, and then take your chance with Omaha, presuming that they make it there. But I think they would win that one. But still, I would much rather face the Bison and Omaha than Fort Wayne, Purdue, Fort Wayne, and Omaha. And I think that they need Omaha to lose, correct? Or
they do. They do. If everybody wins out, Omaha is going to have the tiebreaker, because Fort Wayne is the tie-breaking team. Omaha swept them. SDSU didn't. So that will be the difference if everything holds.
If the Bison beat Purdue, Fort Wayne on Saturday,
are they the 3 seed?
Then they maybe would be the 3 seed. That's right. Yeah.
A lot of shit to be decided.
And I'm going to put out the annual disclaimer. Who knows if we'll have a show next week or not? But we are due for some chaos on the men's side. And I know a couple years ago, SDSU being the 4, winning the whole thing maybe would qualify, but maybe not at the same time. So I think, I don't think this is the year where an 8 beats a 1, but I think we could have a 7 beat a 2, a 6 beat a 3.
This is Stacking's big thing about.
I said this like a month and a half ago, just with the way it started out.
And look at what's transpired since then. NDSU's played a lot better. Jenkins had to make a 40-footer for the Jacks to beat them. Omaha is better than they were at the start. Fort Wayne's been weird, but they.
I just don't see any of these shitty teams winning games. I don't know.
I would say
somebody has to win. They're going to play 7 games and seven. There's going to be 7 winners. So
I think it's going to be like SDSU is going to win 3 of them. I think Fort Wayne is going to win 2 of them. I think Omaha and North Dakota State may win a couple.
Okay, all right.
Like Oral Roberts, I don't know. They're a 20-loss team.
No, I think it's
They're going to be
limited.
the fucking 5 seed, and they're going to have like 22 losses, for Christ's sake. Like, what? Just the worst.
And I do think that the Bison game, I think the Jackrabbits had a little bit of a hangover from that loss against Omaha. I do think that played a role in it.
I mean, just a complete aside, how stupid has the scheduling been in this conference this year? SDSU has got like 3 games here at the end, and they're all at home. And then you got last week they had to go to Omaha and then go to North Dakota State within the span of 3 days. Earlier this year, Omaha had to go from Fort Wayne to SDSU Thursday, Saturday. Like, what the hell is that all about? I just don't get that at all. So they need Augie to get in so they can get the schedule balanced, I guess, or get somebody to leave. That's just weird to me. Just weird.
Everybody did leave. They all moved to Sioux Falls, and everybody left. That's why they can't schedule games anymore. I
do think that because with Western beating Oral Roberts on Saturday, it's all but pretty much guaranteed that Western's going to be the 8 seed. I do think.
What's the guy's name?
What's that?
What's their coach that you like?
Well, I love Billy Wright. Billy Wright's my guy. But
we'll get there early because he'll be done by 8:30. So get there.
I think so.
He's no Jim Molinari.
I think Western Illinois will give Omaha a better game than they would SDSU if that were the matchup. I think Western Illinois got a better chance to beat Omaha than SDSU. If we're talking chaos, I would say Western Illinois. I would give them about a 40% chance to beat Omaha.
You're crazy. You're crazy. I think Krins, when he lays it out like he did, I mean, I think it's probably true that the chaos has a limit in almost every case. We're probably talking about the top 5 teams, being the only real contenders. But I don't know. It just seems like this has been the one tournament that's been pretty much, chaos proof. Since it's been in Sioux Falls since we've started really following it. And so I'm excited that we might get some of that at some point, hopefully.
USD did beat Fort Wayne on January 13th and then lost to them on January 30th. So they split with Fort Wayne. That's the potential first-round matchup. So USD could do something here in that first round.
You could have USD and SDSU in the first round.
No, you can't.
Hey, why not?
I don't.
It's the 7 seed.
It's very unlikely.
Well, what's got to happen?
Well, I think UND. Well, I think USD would have to lose out, then, and UND would have to win, and UND has to go to USD. So
they can't beat them.
I don't think North Dakota will beat South Dakota. I don't.
Also, another pet peeve of mine when this 2-bid thing happens in a couple weeks. I don't. It will happen. I disagree with it. They'll give credit to the Summit League and say, "Oh, Summit League deserves this," and Summit League has been all this shit. No, it's not. It's not the league. It's 2 teams. You dumb shits.
Right.
The league sucks. The league fucking sucks. It's their non-conference schedule. Why they're in. It has nothing to do with playing all of these shitty teams. The conference is a terrible conference. This is one of the worst years of both conferences in many years. So it's not the conference at all. It's goddamn 2 teams that are in it, and that they play each other 3 times, and that they play other ranked teams multiple times. So it just shows people don't understand. They don't pay attention. And the question has to be, right now, you ask me what their RPIs are in strength of schedule. They're right around 30 in the RPIs. And their strength of schedule, SDSU is like in the 80s or so. At USD is like in the 180s. And people wouldn't know that. Like, you should be able to know that if you think, oh yeah, both of these teams are in. We're at the point now where you should be able to say, oh yeah, they should be in because they have 3 or 4 wins against the top 50. You should know this stuff instead of just talking out of your ass and saying, yeah, they should both be in because they look both pretty good. Like Marcus said, you got to fucking come with some facts and comparisons to what other teams are out there, and obviously people don't want to put in that 10 minutes of work. So I look forward to your 2 column here in the next couple weeks.
The Summit League on the women's side, though, I think we could say is better than the men's side, right?
Oh, yes.
Like, just in terms.
Yeah.
I also like red and purple flavored things more than yellow and green flavored things.
Well, what I was meaning by that is like 7 and 8 for the women are worse than 7 and 8 for the men, but obviously, like
the conference for the women's better than the entire conference for the men.
I mean, I don't know. I mean,
I honestly, I don't care about that anymore. You know, like I think we've had a lot of years where it's been 1 or 2 teams on either side that have been worth anything, and it's like it doesn't end up really having any impact on the postseason.
They had no IUPUI was a top 100 team. Western was the top 100 team. Was it Western? Who won the conference? Western won the conference. Whoever it was, Western won the conference. Like that was like, if you want to say that, that's a pretty good conference. I'd say, yeah, that is a pretty good conference. You have 4 teams in the top 100. I'd say if you want to say, Summit League deserves it, blah blah blah, then yeah, that's valid. This year, no, that's fucking ridiculous. Where go? Stacking.
Yeah.
Is there anything you would eat as a kid? Just got to
Echo, Texas is back.
That was a good half-hour run there. And was there anything you would eat as a kid that you don't eat anymore? Like this brings like popsicles. I mean popsicles.
Yeah.
I think they're great.
I don't know. I'd have like a tuna sandwich every once in a while. I don't like tuna anymore, so I'd probably say that.
What happened to that?
Wow.
I don't know. Wow. I'm not a huge fan of grilled cheese.
Really?
What? Wow.
That's
French toast. Even French toast is starting to get on my nerves a little bit. Okay. No, here I will eat French toast, but if it has too much of an egg flavor, then I can't eat it. It's got to be cooked to perfection.
Have you found that usually your eating expands the older you get? Like, I didn't like this as a kid, but now as an adult I tried, and I'm like, that's not too bad. I can eat that.
Stackins is getting shorter.
Yeah, the opposite.
However, the gummy bears and the jelly beans, those just keep climbing up the list. So
respectable.
Probably not for the best.
No, it's not. That's why I'm holding off. So like for Christmas and stuff this year, everyone gave me jelly beans. I probably have 20 pounds worth of Jelly Belly jelly beans in our pantry right now. I'm saving those until after March 21st. That's when I have a dentist appointment. Provided that I don't have any cavities at that appointment, the first day of the NCAA tournament, those jelly beans are coming out in full force. I tell you what.
Look out.
I was picturing an Argus 911 tweet of a man at the Flying J Hotel with a bunch of jelly beans strewn about the bed. Daylight Savings Day or whatever the hell it was. When we spring forward on that Saturday night. But that remains to be seen. What are we? 2 weeks away from this thing? So it's so goddamn late. It's like in June this
13
year.
days.
Next week's the last week. All right.
They're gonna have the amateur tournament. Basically start right after this gets done.
Probably should not have had the amateur tournament and the Summer League tournament at the same time. That was a bad decision by everybody involved. Be as vague as you can, Marcus. Marcus knows, as of like a couple weeks ago, he knows what the big project is. We're 2 weeks away from this goddamn thing. Stackin doesn't know. Stackin asked if it was a tattoo last week. It's not a tattoo.
Okay.
So Stackin,
Stackin can ask me, and I'm gonna leave him in the dark.
Be as vague, and if you have to lie, go ahead. But,
I don't know what it could be. I really don't. Like, is it something that you would wear?
No,
I don't think so.
What the?
Stackin got me something. It's like a hat, or if it's a Furman hat, I guess that's fine. But
wow, big old F.
Big old F.
Hey, that's your Furman Paladin squad that is on the bubble right now. probably do it right along with the Gophers after tonight's debacle.
I hope they're the first team out. I hope they're the first team out.
I'm firmly in the camp that believes that Richard Pitino is safe this year, regardless, job-wise. He's coaching like he wants to get fired.
What has he made? Once in 5 years?
One time, yeah.
I mean, that's not what you ordered up. That's not what you signed up for.
I think they could still make the tournament, but they'd have to beat Northwestern and Purdue. That's what they need to do.
Win a couple games in the tournament or what?
No, they need to beat Northwestern and Purdue in the regular season and then win at least one game in the Big Ten tournament.
Be like an 11 seed or what?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, they'd be a first four. Was it like a sign or something for at the Summit League tournament? Like, get a load of Stacken's hands. God damn! I bet it's a cutout of my hand.
That's a great idea. That's not what it is, but Chris is going to call Kinko's right now and see what they can get done in that category.
Wow, still going to Kinko's, huh?
Yeah, Kinko's. Hey,
Kinko's Bowl. So we got one more week here with the big project taking up space in my apartment.
Yeah, this is your whole kitchen table probably right now, just littered with it.
It's all Stacken's 24-inch hand. One side of my table. So there's that. You've seen Avery Broughton a few times, haven't you? Or anything else?
Well, I would like, since we're kind of talking college basketball, put it on the record that Mr. Schottenkirk and I gathering to go to the first 2 rounds in Des Moines. So we'll have a report on that. That'll be exciting. So, yeah.
Hey, you'll get to see SDSU beat Kansas. That's great.
Well, right now they got that game slated for Tulsa. So
they'll switch that up.
I would hope so.
I tell you what, there are going to be a lot of conferences this year where the 1 seed does not win.
Okay.
I'm calling that right now, and that's going to help SDSU seed, presuming that they win the Summit League. That will help SDSU seed get solidify them in the 14 spot, maybe as high as 13.
I am ill-informed on this net rating as far as like what that's going to mean or how that's going to look, as far as how they do the seeding. No, maybe it's not.
Nobody knows.
Huh?
Nobody knows. I mean, are they just going to take it and go 1 through 68 and say, "Yep, that's it"? Or I mean, who knows?
Yeah, like
I think it plays a role in it. It is not the whole entire thing.
Yeah, you still got.
I think it's going to be like the RPI was. It's going to be there, but it's not going to be a end all be all. But then we'll get to Selection Sunday and they'll do something completely different. So
you've seen Avery Broughton, right? A few times.
I sure have, sir.
I've proclaimed my affection for her as a player. Just to stack and describe her to stacking, because she just do everything.
She's probably 5'10", 6 foot, somewhere in there. She's I'd say she's really a guard, but can play inside. Pretty crafty player, and I mean she's young. She's a 9th grader still.
8th grader.
8th grader. Yeah, geez. I mean, it feels like she's already been around for like 4 years. And she's good shooter, really talented, and I would expect. My hope, my assumption is that she'll be the next player from the Mitchell area that will make some Division I noise. So
with SDSU.
I hope so.
That would be my guess. That's probably what would happen, but you never really know for sure.
Parkston 2 hours late stacking. Parkston 2 hours late.
Hankinson Public Schools 2 hours late, so make sure you report.
Not bad. That's a good rebuttal.
I would say I just did a little driving around a little bit ago. I mean, it's drifting in town here in Mitchell, so it's worse. I mean, it's worse than and that's not even to mention what it's like on the interstate or any of that jazz. So,
I am so fucking tired of snow blowing and shoveling snow. There was a stretch for 10 straight days where I shoveled or snow blowed. I'm tired of this shit.
Why do we live here? Ask yourself that.
Because I'd much rather live here than the South, where they get hurricanes and it's hot and humid.
Bojangles in the South. You don't want that. Yeah, what did we get? I thought we'd get more snow than we did. We didn't get much snow, did we? 3-4 inches, maybe.
Yeah.
It's the ground blizzard stack, and it looks fine in town from where I'm sitting, but I didn't go out today, so good for me. No, Avon also.
That's good. Warren C's can get some shots up.
Good. So yeah, very windy. I'm sure a lot of shit would have been canceled. Everything would have been canceled today, I guess, with the 30, 40 mile an hour wind. Sounds like it's still going to be cold for the next 2 weeks. It's going to be like under 20 degrees, so it should be mid 30s.
Actually, I was just kind of looking at the forecast.
The Mully tournament going to give us
get around 30 for the tournament, from what I saw.
Enough.
So
you don't feel like fucking 60.
There's always there's always some sort of weather. Either it's really warm followed by a storm, or there's a storm and lots of wind, or it's super cold. Something always happens for the Summit League tournament. So, last year didn't they shut the interstate down on Sunday night?
Everybody, the interstate is shut down. Here's the 6 o'clock Sunday game. Enjoy.
No, it had to be Monday night. It was Monday night because
Monday night 6 o'clock game. Here it is.
Because there were all the Jacks fans there. So
tell Jason Lyles at the casino that he'll have to get around.
Casino is closed.
I
was watching the state wrestling tournament last night. That was in Rapid City. And the PA, exactly. PA guy with like 3 matches to go. He's like, "Hey, by the way, the interstate, we've heard it's bad. We've heard it's bad out there. Bad weather from here to Mitchell. So just know that if you're leaving."
It's 9 o'clock. 9 o'clock the mountain time. Like that.
Yeah, thanks for something real definitive there, buddy. Hey, yeah, we've heard it's bad. Just in case you're going, look out.
You're here for the night.
Too bad we didn't have damn guy had to sleep in his car last night.
Yeah, he had a hell of a story. You see this stacking?
No, I didn't. What happened here?
Go pull up his Twitter. I'll talk for
I'm looking at right.
You want to do it?
Yeah, I'll look it up quick.
Yeah, he had to sleep apparently in his car at a gas station for like 3 hours last night. Where
was presentation playing at? Or was he covering
Watertown? Playing in Watertown.
In Watertown, so. Yeah, apparently, windy.
And again, sort of gets to why the hell is the North Star Conference tournament in Watertown.
Yeah.
He tweeted last night, 12:06. He said he was stopped at a gas station intersection of I-29 and Highway 12, and he was staying there. Said he was a little gun shy about driving back, and said he'd wait till morning. And so then another tweet here said it got about 3 hours of sleep at the gas station, woke up at 7 a.m., left around 7:30, made it back at 9:15. Currently laying in bed, may sleep for 4 or 5 hours. I like how he was giving us these very detailed updates. I'm sure Aberdeen said, "Hey, Charlie, tweet more," and he's taking it to a great extreme, which I love, because who doesn't love Charlie?
I do need to know if this was the Tesoro off of I-29 that he was on.
I'm sure I can't remember the exact exit, but that does sound right.
With Granny's Diamond, it would be 177. You could either go to the Cenex or to the Tesoro there.
Yeah.
I always fill up at the Tesoro now. That's my go-to gas station because I don't want to drive through Brookings and get pulled over like I did a couple of years ago after the Summit League tournament, and that was not fun. So it was so that's
he tweeted at 1:40 this morning that he was currently reading about famous U.S. blizzards on Wikipedia while stuck in his car during a blizzard. Hashtag living my best life. Hashtag this must be how Bill Murray felt. He was referencing all the Groundhog Day tweets. Also, yesterday he had to cover 2 games, and he had a big gap in the middle, and he was tweeting about the movie that he went and saw, and basically about how he could have went and saw the other movie because he had more time than he thought, but he saw the other one, and then he made up a goofy rating system, and people are like, "Hey, your rating system sucks," and he's like, "Hey, it is what it is." So Charlie's great.
Why would such a gap? Why don't you just do a double header like SDSU does? Or
this is the North Star Athletic Association, one of the worst run associations in all of NAIA sports. So that tells you a lot, and also it's NAIA. Who cares?
There you go. The state wrestling was out west last couple days.
Sure was.
Yeah, I mean, we're really in a span here, Mr. Traxler. We got Huntmacher, who's one of the greats. Got Matt Moores, who's one of the greats. Got this Avery Broughton, which we all like a whole hell of a lot. We're in this sweet spot here we've got these talents, these big time Division I talents here, right where we don't usually have them. And it was 9 seconds. It's like the kid Beau Foot from Mitchell was just didn't have a prayer.
Didn't even know what hit him.
No,
didn't even know what hit him.
I was waiting all night for this match. Like, all right, I want to see this guy. See what he can do, and it was 9 seconds, hug, down, pin, done.
He wrestled for 1 minute 59 seconds in 4 matches this week, total. That's less than 1 period of 1 match, and he told people that he wanted to dominate. That's what he told reporters STPB afterwards, and he did exactly that. So he's from my interactions with him, pretty good kid. I'm rooting for him a lot, and he's pretty much got the world's his oyster at this point, because he's got a lot of options, and I'm sure he'll I think the consensus is that he'll probably play football, and I think he can have a lot of success with that, because he's a very good football player as well. So
the world is his jelly bean, and he's waiting to get in that jelly bean.
I perked up for jelly bean.
Like, fuck me, dude. Yeah, I mean, I would say that the key difference there between the football and the wrestling is that you can make money playing football, and wrestling not as much.
Mm-hmm.
I'd say that was a key difference between picking which one you want to do, since he's probably a better wrestler than a football player.
And I think he's the 3rd ranked heavyweight in the country in wrestling, and he made somebody made the point that Brock Lesnar, wrestler, I think won 1 state title. He kept running into the same, or maybe didn't win any state titles in his time. So just kind of goes to show, at least at the heavyweight division, what he's doing is pretty much unprecedented. So
was it Kyle Schneider at Ohio State? Yeah, they're a big wrestler.
What's that?
Kyle Schneider at Ohio State. They're a big time wrestler.
Yeah.
Apparently,
basically one of the most famous wrestlers in the country right now. Yep.
Apparently, they did hook up a little bit when he went there, and obviously Kyle Schneider handed him his lunch. But
yeah,
it was good to get that experience of doing that. So
I mean, yeah, I think he's an Olympic gold medalist. I mean, that's about as good as it gets. So
that's exciting.
The Knicks are killing the Spurs right now. So 2 questions, or one thing here. I wonder if the Knicks will blow this lead. And 2, Spike Lee is at the Oscars and not at the Knicks game, so maybe he should never go to a Knicks game again.
Think about it. I mean, award shows, I don't think I've ever watched like one of these things. Have you ever watched one of these things?
I watched more of the Grammys a couple weeks ago than I normally would. Not even on purpose, just happened to be watching it. Normally I'm not an award show guy. So, and I didn't see any of these movies. So you guys know where I'm at on the movies. I don't make it to many of them. Didn't make it to any last year. So
I really want to see Vice, and I didn't. That's on my to-do list.
It's coming here in a couple of weeks, I think. So I want to see that. Yes.
Okay, I agree. I think there's only 2 movies that were up for Best Picture that made it to Mitchell. Actually, I don't know that. I'm sure Black Panther.
Black Panther, I'm sure was here, was it? Well, I don't know. That seemed like
Black Panther was here.
Did the Lego movie make it?
Star is Born was here, and Green Book was here for a week or two.
Bohemian Rhapsody was here.
Bohemian Rhapsody, yeah, that's true.
What's Jack can say?
The Lego movie, but Vice. I really want to see Vice. I would never have guessed that was Christian Bale. I thought it was Jeff Daniels, but apparently
there you go.
So there you go.
For best actor. All these schools. I'm looking at this 2 hours late. I'm looking at this Mitchell. Again, well, I don't get it. They're going to be late. I don't get it. It's going to be fucking 5:30 tomorrow.
I'll get the call.
By the way, yeah, we're starting late tomorrow.
It'll be great.
It's one of my. Those courses get stick and he closed. One of my great pet peeves.
Let's if we can just take 90 seconds here to stack, and the Minnesota Wild playing tonight. They're approaching the trade deadline. I've already dealt off Charlie Coyle in a move that I liked. They got Ryan Donato.
I did too. I absolutely loved it.
Good. What's your take on their situation and what they should be doing here at the trade deadline?
Well, you know what? Coyle was the guy. I'm a huge Ryan Donato fan after watching him in the Olympics last year. So I think long term, I think the Wild won that trade. Honestly,
I mean, it's early.
I said that they had a 7-game stretch. It was starting with the Flyers last week, where I said they need to get minimum 12 points to make the playoffs. They will not do that, but I like the response since the Coyle trade, winning at Detroit and at New York.
Rangers. Yep.
If they could beat the Blues tonight, that'd be very good. So I don't think you make any trades to improve your team. If anything, I would say, trade more players away if necessary. But if they don't make any other moves, I'm fine with that, because between Nino and Charlie Coyle, they've relieved themselves of some cap space, or some money that will open up cap space for the offseason, where they can hopefully make a few additions and some improvements to the team. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, I think that they're probably not done. If we're being honest, I would. It seems like the names that get kicked around the most are Jason Zucker and Mikael Granlund. And I wouldn't want to trade Zucker, but he has struggled a lot lately. So if he goes, it's completely of his own doing. I think Granlund, there's a thinking that he's still too young to give up on. Both those guys, I think, are due, $5 million a year, so they're not cheap players anymore. So I think they're probably going to try to make another move. I wouldn't. I'd rather keep those two guys, but they put themselves in this position. The worst part about what happened here is they played like shit for 3 weeks, and that let everybody catch up to them in the wild card race. So it's great that they're still in it, but now it's going to be a hell of a lot tougher to try to make sure they get into the playoffs, because you're going to be fighting off 6 teams to get in there. The wild card in general is horrible, so it's just a pile of crap teams. We'll see if the Wild make it.
It's just a shame that they decided to go two games without scoring a fucking goal between Anaheim and St. Louis.
It was going to be a TV 14, but fuck me.
Not now.
That isn't the first time I dropped. I dropped like 5 of them watching the Gophers and Rutgers. That's not.
I have this love-hate relationship with whether or not I should have Big Ten Network, and tonight was a good reason to not have it, because
it was 57-52, like 3.5 minutes to go. What the hell?
Yeah.
So yeah, long term, I guess I'm okay with them not doing anything.
They did have to change the core, and they've done that with the Niederreiter and Coyle trades. I think both those guys are going to end up being better off somewhere else. And if they decide they got to make another move, I understand. I would imagine Eric Stahl won't be back in the offseason. So that takes care of another option. So, and they were hurt by the injuries, right? No Dumba this year, and Koivu, Koivu. So that hurt.
That people have to remember, like even going back to the series last year against the Jets. Not that the Wild necessarily would have beaten the Jets, But when you're without Suter and Parise for half that, Parise for half the series, Suter for the entire series, like that affects the overall team. So yeah, Dumba hasn't been around for the last 3 months. Koivu with the ACL injury. So I mean, there are many reasons why this team is not playing as what we would expect. So
it seems like, obviously, I don't pay attention to this, but it seems every year the Wild disappoint or something. I don't know.
Well, I mean, they've made the playoffs 6 years in a row, and they've won one series in that time. So
it sounds like the Twins without the regular season success.
Pretty much. Yeah, they never won the division. I mean, their opening was kind of that end period where the Blackhawks were fading, and there's not really anybody else, and they just didn't do anything, Yeah, I don't think, to be honest, I don't think the format changing the playoffs has helped them either, but that's a separate issue. So
that's an aside.
It sure is, sir.
We have gone an hour and 20 minutes without mentioning
Peter King?
No, we already mentioned Peter King. Chris Clemens of Campbell, 3,000 points. Congratulations to Chris Clemens. Oh, and also Mike Dom.
Chris Clemens, I looked up the record the other day. They're like 15 and 17, or not that many. They haven't played that many games, but they're below 500.
17 and 10.
17 and 10. Okay, but they're not. They're probably not the favorite to win their conference, right? I mean,
they are second in the Big South to Radford. They're just a game back of Radford, and I would like to point out, let me be the first here to say that I picked Campbell to win the Big South here at the beginning.
Thank God.
Going out on a limb a little bit. Good.
Good.
Well, because everyone was saying it was Radford or Winthrop. Some people even picked
everybody was saying that. You're right.
Well, where does Radco, your truck accessory store, were they in the
They were a 5 seed coming into the season.
The Indiana Truck School didn't get into the tournament because they failed their application.
I do believe that Campbell's got a pretty good chance. Here's the difference.
I guess I was getting at whether or not Dom can pass him.
No,
if they keep winning and he keeps playing, that's not going to happen. So
because Campbell has a game in hand, they have 2 games left in the regular season to SDSU's 1. The only way I've looked this up because Clemens has 3,074 points. He's like 68 points ahead of Dom right now. The only way that Dom could pass him would be if Campbell loses in the first round of the Big South and SDSU wins the Summit League and then makes it to the Sweet 16.
No.
Yeah,
like he can do 70 points in 2 games.
He can.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well,
out of 3 games for sure, 2 would be close.
He's going to be over 100 points behind by the time the conference tournaments start.
That's tough. You need to go out early.
Go get 40 this week against Western, Dom. Do that.
Yeah, get fitted.
It amazes me because I don't know how much you guys have seen of the Chris Clemens highlights.
Just a cursory highlights is all I've seen. So he's purely a shooter, and he gets to the foul line a lot, I guess, but he doesn't. Mike Dom is an overall more complete player, and I get where he's down low more, and Clemens is more of a shooter. But honestly, these Big South teams must have zero defense or a lack of awareness for how to defend this guy because they just leave him wide open at all times. It's embarrassing. It really is. So the Big South, what a garbage league for defense. Great player. Mike Dom can beat you any number of ways. Chris Clemens is just like, hey, I'm just going to chuck it up from 40 feet back. And so it's a little Steph Curry like that. Just fucking guard him. Just guard him.
It's not good. Heck, are the Lakers making the playoffs?
I hope not. I hope my Kings are making it. I want to see the Kings in there. At the risk of feeling the wrath from Marcus, I will say I'd much rather see the Kings in than the Timberwolves. I want to see another team end their long playoff drought and that would be the Kings this year. And I think the Kings are a fun team to watch. They beat the Thunder last night, so I'd like to see the Kings in.
I don't necessarily disagree with your principle. I think overall, I'd rather have the Timberwolves in just because I'm tired of the lottery crap with them. I mean, they got lucky because Kogi is a good player. He wasn't a lottery guy last year, but they need to be playing postseason games, and I think that's important. Also, I'm against the Kings making it because the name of the arena is stupid. Golden One Center or whatever. Not
I thought it was
29th in the league, only behind Smoothie King Center.
I thought it was a named after a mattress.
Sleep Train Arena.
Yeah, that was Sleep Train.
I take it back. 28th in the league because you got to have Little Caesars Arena up there too. Trash pile.
What do you have against the Smoothie King?
The city.
I think their product is great. I love their city. It's a pigsty, but I had a lot of fun there. And
the streets smell like piss, but fuck, it's fun.
You are right. It is Golden One Center.
Okay.
Sleep Train must have been their old arena.
Arco Arena.
Yep. Sleep Train Arena, originally Arco Arena. So my apologies, Traxler. You were right.
It happens.
Is anybody surprised there hasn't been a bowl game or an arena named after Aspercreme?
I don't think Aspercreme has that kind of money to throw around. To be honest, I mean,
what about Lysol? Lysol toilet bowl.
Sure.
I think that'd be great. I think that, and
again, I would like it to be the two shittiest teams to and what they get would be an extra 5 scholarships, more than any other team could get, so you can not be so shitty the next year. That's what.
But are you talking about actual bowl eligible teams or taking the 2 worst teams in all of college football?
I'm saying taking the 2 worst teams in all of college football, and in order to make them not so shitty, give them 5 to 10 extra scholarships for the next year. So that way UTEP isn't in the doldrums each year.
It would have been UConn versus UTEP this year. UConn would have still given up 6,800 yards in one game.
Yep.
Nuggets are a game behind Golden State for the 1 seed.
Nuggets. We need Amon to give us a report. He's been to like 3 games, right?
Tell me how good the team is, Amon.
Tell me.
Clippers are only a game ahead of the Kings, 3 ahead of the Lakers. So I'd say once we get down to that 10-game mark and there's still about 3 games back, then I'd say, okay, that's a real thing with the Lakers missing out. The Suns have lost 17 in a row. Yeah, bad. But the Kings, didn't the Knicks just snap an 18-game losing streak?
Yeah, by beating San Antonio tonight.
I thought it was going to happen a couple nights ago against the Wolves, and somehow it didn't. So,
the Knicks are only up by 9 now with 8 minutes left. So
it's getting late.
Knicks beat the Hawks the other night.
Oh yeah, yep, they did. My bad.
Good for them. Machado signed with the Padres. That makes a lot of sense. Yeah,
a lot of money.
I mean, what does it say that like the Marlins had the big Stanton contract, the Padres, they've got this big contract.
Don't forget about the big contract Eric Hosmer signed the year before.
Yeah, he spent $475 million in the last 2 years on 2 guys.
Apparently, they're also exploring trying to bring Bryce Harper in as well. I don't know if that's.
Yeah, why not? Whatever.
Yeah, Harper, he'll be with the Phillies by Tuesday. Put that in the blog, Stacking.
Yep.
Phillies, Harper, Tuesday.
No, I saw that they're ending contract talks here soon. So.
Corinne's dead.
I feel pretty good though.
Okay.
Marwin Gonzalez. Who took Marwin Gonzalez?
Dying.
The Twins did.
Yeah. Twins signed the guy, so he'll play everywhere and anywhere.
How about?
I love that. I love that about him though. That we're going to pay you $12 million. He's perfectly okay with being this guy who's going to have no real absolute role other than he's going to be the
And he's better than
guy.
Than an Adrianza. He's an average shooter. So that helps to have that in the lineup when Buxton, gets hurt and Sano.
maybe
over somebody.
a certain teammate of Marwin Gonzalez's will join the Twins here soon.
Dallas Keuchel.
Oh, yeah, maybe.
Maybe.
Yeah.
Would that make sense? Wouldn't that make sense?
Yeah.
Sure would.
Like Craig Kimbrell, I don't want him. I don't like the way he looks.
No.
Keuchel would
Pitching
be
motion,
fine.
trash.
Would that not piss you off having to watch that 60 times a year?
No. Well, and we've already kind of established that this team is going to go closerless. So
I like that. I like people if they lose their minds, and I think this will be. I'm very much looking forward to this year. I think they'll be at least hopefully around the 500 mark. They weren't terrible. I mean, they won 78 games last year, and it seemed like a complete disaster.
yeah,
But in the end, it wasn't awful. So I like the changes that they're making. Baseball's on the TV stacking. We're watching some of the baseball. Also, Old Miss players. You see the Old Miss players take a knee. What was this, yesterday?
that was good.
I
That
did.
was good.
Yep.
A couple of them did it, and 8 of them ended up doing it. No.
I think it's a little bit easier to rationalize it to your fans when it's literally happening outside your arena. So when you're having these protests, demonstrations, whatever they were doing.
Pro-Confederacy, because they're removing some of the Confederate statues or names in the town and stuff.
Yeah, well, it's 2019, folks. Deal with it.
I mean, I haven't heard of the outrage with this.
I don't think there will be any. This will be because this isn't the NFL, and nobody knows what this is.
And their white coach, who said at the beginning of his tenure or the season, said, "Hey, we're going to respect the flag," and then his players did.
Yeah, I'm gonna say even though he's come out and said, you saw what he said at the press conference.
What, yesterday?
Yeah, he said he supports the players. He didn't say like I support why they're doing this. Hey, Mitchell's 2 hours late. Good job. Good job.
Okay, there we go. All right.
I'll give you credit where credit's due. It's 8:30.
I don't draw a distinction there between that.
I don't think he's for it. If you ask him,
I don't think he has any choice but to be for it. You know what I mean? I mean, think about the circumstances, what was going on. Are you going to say, "Hey, you can't be doing that"? I mean, he would be in the ringer appropriately for that.
By all accounts, this guy's an asshole, Kermit Davis.
We probably shouldn't be giving him the credit.
Secondhand knowledge. He's an asshole.
First hand, probably, right?
Well, somebody told me.
Did you ever run into him when you were at Tennessee State?
The guy who I worked with at Tennessee State went down to Middle Tennessee State, where he was from. Yeah. And he said Kermit Davis is an asshole.
Okay. Well, I was more so alluding to the fact that you never ran into him when he was at.
Secondhand knowledge for me.
Okay, gotcha. Yeah, no,
I was just gonna say that I didn't watch this game, but I saw some highlights, and the fans were cheering when they came back from being down to Georgia to take the lead. So I don't know if it. I feel like if they had more of an issue with this, I would guess they probably wouldn't be cheering as much. Like they probably would have left or booed extensively, and I didn't hear about any booing at all. So I would hope people are okay with the rationale behind this, but
the big thing with the Kaepernick thing is that so many people have no idea why he did what he did. They still have no idea, even though you can tell them over and over. We talked about this a dozen times, Stack, and they still have no idea why Kaepernick and all these NFL guys did what they did. I guess this makes it easier now that I guess these Ole Miss people understand why these guys did what they did.
The thing with Kaepernick is too that these people don't know that a Green Beret told him that this Nate Boyer that, hey, you know what? If you want to protest, take a knee. Like that, they don't understand that that's where this originated from.
Well, and again, people think that this is about protesting the flag, and it's not about that. So people are stupid. Yeah, I agree.
I put that on my tombstone.
Put it on your tombstone.
So I don't think their coach likes it.
What do you put on your tombstone?
The Giorno's Pizza.
Tombstone pizza? What's going on here?
Billy Beans and Pizza. Get you at the next two-man show to Yeah. That'll be at the 7th place game in Aberdeen. Any other thoughts here? We got high school basketball wrapping up here in a couple weeks.
I'm working on a story for Saturday, Daily Republic, MitchellRepublic.com.
Mitchell paper.
On the round of 16. This format, we're now in the second year of it. Basically, polling, getting some opinion.
Just double
out of every class. Do you feel like fans have accepted it? Because that is one of the things that I'm kind of going to write about. I feel like they have in some ways.
Yeah. I would say because there hasn't really been many upsets in AA. Like in those smaller classes, we've seen upsets. Your bullshit teams from what New Underwood or Faith or whatever bullshit team you want to make up. They lose all the time. But I'd say if Mitchell boys would get in, there'd be a big goddamn uproar of.
There would be, yeah.
This whole fucking season comes down to one game and they win, and they show they're capable of competing with, Lincoln or Yankton or whoever they're going to play. So
how many people were at senior night for Mitchell boys? I mean, what they were 2-17 on the year?
About 250 people, probably.
Oh yeah. And they won. So there you go.
And they won. Good job.
I would say, they played about 7 games this year that they could have won.
Yep.
They were 2-18. They could have won yesterday. They could have beat number 1. They could have beat number 2. They could have beat number 3. I would say, they probably should have won 5 games. They probably should have been 5-15, maybe 6-14. That seems about right.
Yeah, could have won at Pier. So
they lost all of the games, all of the close games. They lost all of them.
Mm-hmm.
Like all 6 or 7 of them. You give them like 2 or 3 of them. You win 5. So is this the busiest time of the year?
I think so.
Gymnastics and wrestling, basketball, college.
It's going to be, at least for us, it's going to be especially busy because we've got the Summit League tournament and the NAIA tournament going simultaneously because of the schedule. So that's
where's the NAIA tournament going to be?
Women are in Sioux City. The men are in Sioux Falls. So.
Very convenient. Very convenient.
What, the Pentagon?
Yeah, the Pentagon. Same time as the Summit League.
Do you guys think Mike Dom's going to get drafted?
I become less certain of that by the day.
Second round, I think so. Between picks 45 and 60.
Okay. And then Jordan Brown is SDSU cornerback, is at the Combine, starts this week. What do we think of his potential draft prospects?
I don't have a clue, to be honest. I honestly had forgotten all about him until I was looking up some pictures today just to see what they had of Mike Dom in the Reuters system, and they had a photo of Jordan Brown playing at the Senior Bowl. So
apparently he did fairly well down at Senior Bowl week. So
I would imagine it'll be a third-day pick, so rounds 4 through 7, somewhere in there.
Sports Lounge was at 276. Probably will be at the Summer League tournament for our annual Sunday get-together.
Can't wait.
The Buffalo Wild Wings. So there you go. Look forward to that. Basketball and lots of it. The Jelly Bean Kid, and Marcus, and his Leinenkugels. And Mike Off. We'll see you from Sioux Falls in March with our cast of fucks that show up every year. We'll see.